The golden age of Hollywood is over. George Lucas from a ranch in California defied all odds and led a new franchise to the top of the charts. Not content with one success, he set his sights on the burgeoning gaming industry and assembled a crew. Ron Gilbert was charged with creating a video game that people couldn't put down. His masterpiece would see the creation of Guybrush Threepwood, Mighty Pirate, and the direction of adventure gaming was changed forever. Known the world over for Star Wars, George Lucas became a true innovator in storytelling. The financial success of this space opera allowed him to expand his enterprise into new mediums. Under his leadership, new departments were created at Skywalker Ranch which aimed to challenge the creativity of anyone who would come to work for him. In 1990, the company released the first game in the Monkey Island series, which redefined the adventure game genre. The Secret of Monkey Island would go on to become a fan favourite and span 4 sequels. This is The Secret of Monkey Island Iceberg Explained, and this is your spoiler warning before we begin our deep dive into the first chapter of Guybrush's history. What's in a name? Guybrush is a peculiar name because it didn't exist before the making of this game. Character sprites for Monkey Island were created using a program called Deluxe Paint. Steve Purcell, who was the man behind the design, simply named the file as Guy for his reference and added the word brush to indicate that this was a brush file for Deluxe Paint. Eventually, the name travelled through the whole department and Guybrush was officially christened. One of the most memorable parts of The Secret of Monkey Island was the inclusion of insult sword fighting. As our lovable hero tries to become a pirate, he must learn how to best others in sword fighting to earn a shot at beating the Swordmaster, which is one of the 3 trials. Early ideas for this were more typical. The player would have to choose to attack high, mid or low, and would have to block high, mid or low as well. However, the development team had watched numerous Errol Flynn movies such as Captain Blood and noticed the witty banter during the sword fighting battles. This gave them the idea for the insult sword fighting puzzle and pushed players to think laterally to best this part of the game. One of the first areas Guybrush visits during the game is the Scum Bar. The name of this bar is inspired by the game engine which was used to build Lucasfilm adventure games at the time. Its full name is the Script Creation Utility for Maniac Mansion, the acronym for which is SCUM. The game engine would also be used for the original Indiana Jones games as well as the Monkey Island sequels LeChuck's Revenge and The Curse of Monkey Island. As computer technology advanced and games like The Secret of Monkey Island became unplayable on new machines, a group of die-hard fans banded together to create SCUM VM, which is a virtual machine able to play old adventure games on new hardware. The program now supports over 250 games including other Lucasfilm games, Revolution Software games like Broken Sword, and Sierra games such as King's Quest. Guybrush's most notable attribute is his ability to hold his breath for 10 minutes, a feat he likes to mention whenever the opportunity presents itself. This isn't just a throwaway character quirk, but comes into play towards the end of the first part of the game. Sheriff Fester Shinetop attempts to drown Guybrush after he steals the idol from the governor's mansion, another of the 3 trials. Players now have 10 minutes to solve the puzzle before Guybrush eventually runs out of air and drowns, a rare opportunity to die. Not much is known about Guybrush's life before he arrives on Melee Island. This is an intentional choice by the developers to allow players to fully roleplay Guybrush the way they see fit. His backstory is that he woke up one day and decided he wanted to be a pirate, and he set out on his quest. No more, no less. The game is littered with pop culture references, most notably other Lucasfilm properties. Although Sam and Max Hit the Road wouldn't be released by Lucasfilm Games until 1993, the detective duo can be spotted as idols in front of the giant monkey head. Sam and Max were the creations of designer Steve Purcell and had already appeared in comic form in the late 80s. The idol was changed for the special edition release of The Secret of Monkey Island and replaced with an idol of the Tentacle from Day of the Tentacle, another LucasArts game. Another of the game's most infamous puzzles is the Grog Mug puzzle. At the climax of the first part of the game, Guybrush must recruit a crew to help him sail to Monkey Island. Unfortunately, most of the town's population have sailed away and one of the only people left is Otis, who's currently in jail. To free him, the player must transport grog from the Scum Bar to the jailhouse. Unfortunately, the grog is so potent that it melts through a mug before Guybrush can reach Otis. To win this puzzle, players must redistribute the grog between multiple cups and eventually free the flower-loving Otis by burning away the lock. Ron Gilbert was the mastermind behind Monkey Island, but he left LucasArts after the second instalment of the franchise. He would play no role in the creation of the sequels, The Curse of Monkey Island and Escape from Monkey Island. In 2009, Telltale Games, which was set up by a collection of former LucasArts alumni, would be contracted to create a new chapter in Guybrush's story. Ron Gilbert would return to the franchise under the title Visiting Professor of Monkeyology to help break the story, but remained off hands from the development of the game. Guybrush's last name is Freakwood, which would come about as part of a company-wide contest to find him a suitable surname. Freakwood was the winning choice and apparently came from inspiration from P.G. Woodhouse's characters, which were named Galahad Freakwood and Freddy Freakwood. Early versions of the game included the infamous stump joke. When the game shipped in 1990, it was spread over 5 floppy disks. While travelling through the forest on Melee Island, if players inspect a certain tree stump, an error will pop up asking the player to insert discs they don't have. Some players found this joke confusing, feeling that their copy was missing the disc. The Lucasfilm Games helpline would be flooded with calls from frustrated players worried they were missing something. Future versions of the game would have this joke removed, as the joke wouldn't work once the game was put on CD. If the player lets Guybrush drown or can't figure out the puzzle in time, the option to order a hint book appears. If the player presses the button, Guybrush will direct the player to call 1-800-STAR WARS for details, an obvious homage to the Star Wars franchise, Lucasfilm's biggest property. Ron Gilbert felt that adventure games had a huge problem. Dying in these games was easy to do and sometimes went against logic. Adventure game pioneers Sierra would include dozens of ways to die in their games, which Ron felt punished the player for their curiosity. He felt that Monkey Island should get rid of this trend and wanted to create a game where the player couldn't die, or at least they were given a fair chance of avoiding it. The most notable example is the underwater puzzle, which has a 10-minute time limit before Guybrush dies, but the puzzle is deceptively easy to figure out. Monkey Island is a long game for new players, and there are plenty of sticking points if players can't figure out certain puzzles. If you want the glory of beating the game without actually playing it, the developers have got your back. All you need to do is press Ctrl W and you'll get a pop-up asking if you want to win the game. Simply hit yes. When Guybrush is being interrogated by the cannibals, players have the option of distracting them by pointing to a 3-headed monkey. Of course, there isn't one, it's just a ruse. If the player continues to claim there is a 3-headed monkey, the cannibals won't believe you, but one will actually appear and eat a banana before disappearing. The joke was written by Tim Schafer, who initially thought it was stupid and would remove it from the final game. Creator Ron Gilbert, however, loved it and had Steve Purcell design the monkey and put him in the game. The 3-headed monkey distraction would go on to become a running gag throughout the series. On Melee Island, players are blocked off from part of the island by a troll who demands a gift. He wants something that will attract attention but has no real importance. Guybrush then gives the troll a red herring. A red herring is a literary device used to distract the audience by convincing them an item is important but it has no real bearing on the plot. In the Scum Bar, Guybrush can talk to several pirates. One of the pirates is proudly sporting a badge that says "Ask me about Loom." Guybrush can ask him and he will reel off an advert for Loom, which is another Lucasfilm game that came out shortly before Monkey Island. One of the discs required for the stump joke is disc 22. The disc never existed until 2020, when disc 22 would finally be made available to those lucky enough to buy the 30th anniversary collector's edition of the game from Limited Run. Stan is the eccentric used boat / coffin / insurance / timeshare / souvenir salesman Guybrush encounters many times throughout his adventures. In The Secret of Monkey Island, he is distinct from other characters due to the pattern on his coat not moving as he does. This design was down to graphic limitations at the time of development. Subsequent games have replicated this design, although it became harder to do once the series transitioned to 3D. One of the main inspirations for Monkey Island is the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. And another inspiration is the On Stranger Tides book by Tim Powers, a book that would later be adapted for the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean film. In Escape from Monkey Island, the 4th game in the series, it was revealed that his middle name is Ulysses, giving him the full name of Guybrush Ulysses Freakwood. That's one mighty pirate. Guybrush can take on Darth Vader in The Force Unleashed 2. Players could reskin Starkiller as the mighty pirate himself. This version of the character is affectionately known as Guybrush Freakkiller. Concept art was also created to reskin Juno as Elaine Marley and Darth Vader himself as Guybrush's mortal enemy, LeChuck. However, these did not make the final cut of the game. To unlock this skin, players must locate the Freakkiller statues in the western arch of Tarko Sea. Ron Gilbert envisioned a trilogy of games when he was developing the first 2 Monkey Islands. He left the company following the completion of the 2nd game, which meant his trilogy would never be completed. A 3rd Monkey Island game was released in 1997, but without Ron's input. One of the biggest changes made is that he never envisioned Elaine settling for Guybrush, instead picturing them of having a sibling-esque relationship. Ron Gilbert still has the desire to make his final game, which he describes as a free A. He has approached Disney about acquiring the IP, but nothing has happened with the series since Disney acquired Lucasfilm. During the game, the player has the option of destroying Guybrush's ship by launching a boulder into it. A puzzle in the game requires you to collect bananas, and the only conceivable way of knocking bananas out of the tree on the beach is to use a system of rocks to launch boulders into the distance. If the player overestimates this, they can destroy their ship, which alters how Guybrush eventually leaves Monkey Island. Although this is entirely missable, Escape from Monkey Island establishes this as canon when Guybrush meets up with his crew again. Rumours of a cancelled Monkey Island film had been floating around the internet for a long time. Until 2011 this was all just guesswork, but with the release of the Monkey Island Special Edition collection, we got a hard look at details of the film. Steven Spielberg was attached to the film through his Amblin Entertainment production company and close professional relationship with George Lucas. The film was to be animated and titled The Curse of Monkey Island after the third game, but would be a reimagining of Guybrush's origin story. Bizarrely, Mr. Spielberg wanted the focus of the film to be on the monkeys instead of the pirates for which the franchise is known for. Ted Elliott was rumoured to have penned the screenplay, a name you may be familiar with as the writer of 4 out of the 5 Pirates of the Caribbean films. Some fans believe ideas he had for the Monkey Island film were eventually repurposed into the Pirates series. Development of Monkey Island was held at George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch, meaning Guybrush and Luke Skywalker are work colleagues. Ron Gilbert initially wanted players to be able to choose between a male and female character. The idea was eventually scrapped due to disk space limitations, which meant having 2 playable characters wouldn't work. They decided to use the Guy sprite and fleshed out his character from there. The original title of the game was Mutiny on Monkey Island, and the original premise of the game was changed into what we know as The Secret of Monkey Island today. The original plot included Governor Fat, who wanted the treasure of Monkey Island for himself after finding part of the map to get there. Although this character didn't make it into the final game, a version of him appears in the second game in the series, LeChuck's Revenge, albeit in a reduced capacity. The protagonist for Mutiny was not Guybrush, but a pirate called Captain Smear West, who would travel to Monkey Island, which housed the Gates of Hell. The game is set during the age of piracy, given the abundance of pirates in the game. However, the cannibals on Monkey Island have access to some very high-tech equipment. An easily missable gag in the game is being captured by the cannibals and escaping. Each time Guybrush is recaptured, they increase the security of the doors, keeping him locked up. After Guybrush has escaped and returned half a dozen times, the door will be a high-tech, futuristic version, nigh on impenetrable, but it's still no match for our mighty pirate. If you had one of the original versions of the game, you would encounter the copy protection screen that prevented you from playing the game unless you had the Dial-A-Pirate wheel. This copy protection was created to keep the game out of the hands of actual pirates, and each copy of the game, sold physically, would have this wheel included in the big box. Before you can play the game, you will need to match the face on your screen with a face on the wheel and then enter the date that it gives you. This will let you access the game and play till your heart's content. If you lost your will, the only option you had was contacting Lucasfilm to purchase a replacement. Subsequent versions of the game would not have this sort of copy protection in place. On Melee Island, the path to Captain Smirk, the expert swordsman who teaches Guybrush the way of the sword, is blocked by a nasty troll. The only way to get past him is to give him the red herring. As soon as you do, he will permit Guybrush to pass. Once the troll believes Guybrush is safely out of view, he will remove his head to reveal none other than Lucasfilm founder George Lucas. The resemblance is hard to see due to the low pixel size, but the designer's intention was for this to be the big boss himself. Insult sword fighting involves witty back and forth between pirates. It essentially boils down to a memory game. You learn insults and retorts by challenging new pirates until you have enough responses to finally beat the Swordmaster. The twist is, the Swordmaster has a completely different list of insults, and you need to work out which of your retorts links to which new insult. The insults were devised by Ender's Game author Orson Scott Card, who reportedly had assistance from his kids. Originally, the game planned to include ship battles when Guybrush sets off on his journey towards Monkey Island. The player would have to battle other pirate ships to score treasure used to advance to the next stage of the story. This cut content would eventually make its way into the series during the third game, The Curse of Monkey Island, which also included an updated version of insult sword fighting with a rhyming theme. If you're reading the speech quicker than it's being shown, you can skip dialogue by pressing the period button. Ron Gilbert revealed on his blog, Grumpy Gamer, that he's surprised how few people were aware of this, explaining that his choice to make it the period button is due to periods ending sentences. Guybrush is a fun-loving, naive, highly creative character who can think his way out of any situation. The character was intended to be green, meaning he is completely inexperienced at being a pirate. His personality is arguably his biggest strength, but it wasn't always that way. In fact, when George Lucas was first introduced to Guybrush, he felt that the character was too bland. This prompted the game creators to think of a way to make Guybrush more compelling. Despite being called The Secret of Monkey Island, its true secret has never been revealed. Series creator Ron Gilbert claims that the secret would have been revealed in his envisioned final game. Escape from Monkey Island, the fourth game in the series, tried to settle this once and for all through the revelation that the giant monkey's head from the first game is actually a giant mechanical robot. Many fans felt that this was not a satisfying conclusion to a 9-year-old mystery. Either way, the real secret of Monkey Island has only been revealed to one person who was lucky enough to receive the answer on the back of the certificate of our authenticity in the 30th anniversary collector's box. Have you ever wanted to stay on Monkey Island? Well, you can make that a reality by heading to the real Monkey Island on the River Thames in the United Kingdom, although this island is not populated by monkeys and cannibals. Alternatively, you can visit Cayo Santiago just off the coast of Puerto Rico. It's home to a research station and is overpopulated with monkeys. Perhaps the research is how long monkeys can open the gate for. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked what you saw, please consider giving us a little thumbs up to let us know we're doing a good job. If you want to subscribe and leave a comment below, we'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on this incredible series of games. There will be more to come from the Iceberg Explained series, including LeChuck's Revenge.